Raidieraksts Drošinātājs.
I wanted to get straight to the point and ask you about this BBC list of the most influential and inspiring women. You are included in this list this year. And how did you find out about it? And was it a surprise for you?
Well, I wouldn't say it's important to have as a team recognition. So I basically take it as a recognition of the work that our team makes during the wartime. So I kind of got it on behalf of our team because it's a teamwork. They contacted us, said that there is a list and I'm in the list. So I was like, great. If it gives additional coverage for Superhumans, that's going to be amazing. That's the only thing that really matters to raise awareness about situation in Ukraine and have another opportunity to speak about situation in Ukraine for a wider audience. That's a great news for the project, I guess.
So you see it as thanks for the project more, not thanks for you exactly like.
I think I see it as a recognition of what we did during the war times in Ukraine and how we did it. So I don't think that anyone have to thank us for the work we do because we do what we have to do. But it's more like a recognition that we are on the right path, we are doing right things in the right time for the people who need it. So just something like that.
But this list includes the most influential, inspiring women. Who do you think are the people maybe who you personally inspire and how does being influential shows itself? Who and what do you influence, in your opinion, doing your work? Some processes or some people maybe, or yeah.
I influence my team, definitely, our patients who lost their limbs and faces, and hopefully we can change the system of delivering help in Ukraine during the wartime. So we do believe that we can sooner or later impact the system. I don't want to use the word influence, but we want to impact the system and change it because our healthcare system is not ready for the war at this scale. I don't think that any healthcare system is ready for that. So I basically believe that organizations like ours and others have to help government and ministries to fix the problems that we have in the healthcare system to provide better help.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that being on such a list gives you any new opportunities, for example, for collaboration or something like that?
I hope so. I believe that it gives new opportunities for the center and for our patients. It'll bring more interest towards what we do and additional resources because we are at the third year of the war and our resources are running low. And I think that it's in all areas and we need more support and we need more people supporting Ukrainians as never before, because it's been a long time fighting this war.
And we have talked with other guests about the role of women in this war. How would you say the role of Ukrainian women in society has changed in these recent years since the full-scale invasion began?
I think Ukrainian women were always very active in everything, and we changed the law that allowed women to go to the front lines and be part of the military, and it did help at the beginning of full-scale invasion. And I think that women took a huge part of responsibility. They are taking care of families right now. They are responsible for taking care of the businesses that they had, and they volunteer, they provide front lines with different support. So they are absolutely amazing, and they're all heroes for me. And we have 60,000 plus women at the front lines right now in the military. I would say not all of them are at the front lines, but in the military. So they are proving themselves to be really strong, resilient, and I think that a lot of them surprised themselves in how they reacted to this war.
And let's talk about the Superhuman Center. You have created this in Lviv. How did you came up with the idea of creating such a center?
Idea is not mine. It belongs to Andrei Stavnitzer, and he first founded Help Ukraine Center, humanitarian hub in Poland, He opened it with a number of big logistic Ukrainian companies at the first week of the war. And in April 2022, Andrei said that we need to do something today for tomorrow. And he came up with the idea of Superhuman Center. So the naming belongs to him and the idea belongs to him. And we started with the idea that we're building prosthetic and rehabilitation center and face reconstructive surgery, because we anticipated it's going to be a lot of people who will be losing their limbs, a lot of people who will need very specific support, and we didn't have expertise at that time in Ukraine. So we basically had to build everything from scratch.
What did you do before you worked in the center? So how did you get into this?
I worked for a charitable foundation for 18 years, building a culture of philanthropy in Ukraine. So I've always been around non-for-profits and charitable projects. And when the war started, I joined Humanitarian Hub in Poland just to volunteer, to do something to be helpful. And then I moved from Humanitarian Hub to Superhuman Center. I quit my job that I devoted 18 years of my life. I had an amazing job, but I had to quit it because I thought that in the context of war, I can do more and I can be more helpful building the hospital that will be so needed for Ukraine. That's how it all started.
So helping people is not something new and unknown to you. But how do you see how's Ukrainians now helping, I don't know, their own army, any other help? Because, you know, there are 1, 2, 3 years past now since the war began, the full-scale invasion began. And so, of course, we hear these talks about that everyone's tired and so on. So how do you see this?
We are not tired. I mean, of course, we are exhausted, but we are not tired. You know, we are fighting for our independence. We are fighting for our future. We are exhausted, and it's been a long fight. It's been a long marathon. But, you know, I can talk about myself and my team. We are not tired. It's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we just can't afford to be tired because, you know, from what we do now depends our future and future of our children and our grandchildren. So the time is now, and we just can't afford being tired or being lazy or postpone it something till tomorrow. We don't even sure that it's going to be tomorrow for all of us. So we do as much as we can every day. And if there is another day, that's great. That's a bonus. So we wake up and do again as much as we can.
And can you please tell us why is the center called Superhumans?
There is a big philosophy behind that. We believe that we don't have victims of war in this country because everything we do very consciously. We do at the front lines because it's our decision. We stay at the front lines because it's our decision. So we are not victims of war. And those people who got injured due to Russian aggression and those people who got injured by fighting for their countries, they are superhumans. And we want our patients to know that they have superpowers and they can use trauma to convert it from the worst moment of their lives into something bigger. And that's what we're trying to do in Superhumans. Our patients are running marathons, they win marathons, they bring medals from all sport competitions, they have kids, they return back to work, they return back to what they did, or they find new skills, and they act as a real superhumans. And we believe that we are the country of superhumans, and that's how we want our country to look like. So we are not only saving one leg at a time, we are basically building a different picture of Ukraine after the war, when we would see on the streets not victims of war, but superhumans. And we believe that if we see people with iron legs who are freely talking about their experience, people with scars, not wounds, it's going to be a different trajectory for the development of this country. So what we do in Superhumans is not just giving people legs and arms, it's building a different picture of the country in the future.
And speaking about the center itself, what happens there? What kind of patients come to you, both civilians and soldiers? Who are they?
We have civilians, military, and children. Anyone who was injured due to work can apply to Superhumans. All services are free of charge. We fundraise for all our activities, and we provide psychological support, prosthetics, rehabilitation, and social reintegration, basically helping our patients to find the reason to leave apartment and to wear their prosthetics. And starting from February 2024, we opened our surgical department where we do very complex surgeries with our French team to restore faces. We do face reconstruction, we are moving flaps, we do hearing aid surgeries, and we do limbs amputation and limbs reconstruction, I would say. Also, we have a dental department, and we have general hearing aid department where we provide people with hearing aid. So it's a very complex services. We have 80 beds in Superhuman Center, and we have inpatients, and right now we have 200 of them.
But most of the patients are soldiers?
It's a mix of civilians and military. For us, it doesn't matter the background experience. It's important that people were injured due to war and they deserve services.
How is maybe, I don't know, the work with soldiers, civilians, children, how the work is different between those groups of different age or different background? Or
we're all different and we all have different experience. Even being at the front lines doesn't mean you have the same experience. Depending what you do, where you've been, how long you've been, we're all different. Civilians have different motivation and military has different motivation. Kids need special attention. Sometimes we work with relatives because they also need a lot of attention from a psychologist because they are the first caregivers. So we're all different. People are united by trauma, not by experience, surprisingly. So it doesn't matter what you have done before and how you got injured. People are united by that trauma and what they've been through.
If I'm not mistaken, I saw somewhere that I understand that you have a nickname. Was it Mother? Why is that?
I don't know. It's just a call name because guys are used to call people by call name. So they picked this one for me because I'm always in the center and we do care about our patients and we are a family. We act here as a family. So if you enter the Superhuman Center, if you got services here, so when at the dischargement party that we have every Thursday, we basically say to them, welcome to the family. They can always account on our services. We follow up them. We help them to find a job, find a new place of living. So in a family setting, my role, to be mom.
And if I'm not mistaken, in the first 2 years of operation, more than 1,000 people have received the center's services. Is this a lot or much less than you would like to see?
We need to provide services to more people, definitely, because line is 1,500 people who want to get to Superhumans. So we are building 2 more centers, one in Dnipro, one in Odessa, closer to front lines, and we understand that the need is much bigger than we can actually provide and service. So we train a lot of medical specialists, we train prosthetists, medical workers for the rest of Ukraine, so more people can get quality services. And we definitely want to be able to provide everyone needed with prosthesis and rehabilitation services and surgeries. So the idea is not only provide services here, but also train specialists so they can work and do great stuff. Doesn't matter where they are.
So it's a pretty big line. How do you prioritize, or it's just first who comes gets to get in the center, or how?
The line is not linear because some people apply the first day of the trauma and they're not ready for prosthetics for the next 2-3 months. So it's not linear. Also, we do mix of patients. So we have easy patients, we have difficult patients, we have patients who would stay with us like for 6 months. It's very important for us to use group dynamics. So anyone who enters Superhumans, they have to see someone with the same amputation, but already walking or doing first steps, just to give people hope. So, like I said, line is not linear. We are picking up patients according to their readiness for prosthetics, according to their difficulties, and according to the amputation they have. And that's how it works.
Maybe you can tell more about prostheses. As I understand, they are expensive. You said that everything is like free of charge from the people. So how do you manage to get that much money to help?
The cost of prosthesis varies from, I would say, $5,000 to $150,000, depending on amputation and the solution that we find for our patients. Like electronic knees are very expensive, myoelectric hands are expensive. And the higher the amputation, the more expensive the patient will be at the end. We fundraise for our activities all the time. We move around the world. We tell about the situation in Ukraine. We show the results of our work, and the results are quite impressive. We built the hospital in 4.5 months under rocket attacks, and we launched the full cycle in almost a year after the first launch of the center. So we operated efficiently. We always report about results of our operation and how money spent. That's how we attract additional donors and additional support.
Is it that it gets harder right now to fundraise if you compare it to, I don't know, last year or 2 years before? Is it getting harder to get money?
If it's getting harder, that means we are not working enough. It's not about people around. It's about our ability to tell the story and attract resources. We just know how much is the need, and we need to keep moving. You not always get yes for all your requests, and that's fine. Someone would say yes, someone would say no. You just keep moving because we see the demand. We know the names of those people who are expecting our services, and that's what motivates us to keep doing our work. So we do everything at the same time. We build new centers, we operate existing one, we fundraise, and we do a lot of campaigns in media to change attitude towards people with disabilities.
You already mentioned the specialists who are working with you. How big is your team? Maybe you can tell more about your team.
Our team is roughly 300 people now, a little bit less. We are a big surgical team, around 40 people, because surgeries are different and very complicated. Medical staff, we have prosthetists, rehabilitation team, psychologists, we have back office, we have to serve the team to provide everything because we are doing everything according to Ukrainian law. And we're already preparing the team to scale up to Dnipro and Odessa. So it's quite a big team now. We started with 5 people in 2022 and we grew up to 300. And I think that by the end of the year, it's going to be more people in our team.
Well, considering that many people of different professions have left work to defend Ukraine, was it difficult to find specialists to work in your center? And are you still struggling to find certain specialists?
We have a human capital crisis in Ukraine for sure, especially in medical sphere, because a lot of medical workers were women. And they left the country because they had kids and they had to take care of them. So that's a huge problem. A lot of problems with finding people. But in our situation, we don't need just people. We need our type of people, experienced, highly motivated, understanding the goal and mission of the center. So it's hard. We keep looking for the right kind of people that will fit the team. We train people, we invest a lot of money in our team to become more efficient and more experienced. So that's a non-stop process. And we are always in search for great specialists, not only in Ukraine, but outside of Ukraine as well.
And so you already have foreigners working in your center or only Ukrainians?
We have foreigners coming to Superhumans Center on a mission basis. So they're coming like for 2 weeks to do upper limb prosthetics, for example. We have French team of very high competent surgeons who are coming here every 2-3 months. to do complicated surgeries. We are expecting British team to come on a mission basis. So that kind of collaboration and that kind of work with international doctors and experts that we are very much welcoming here.
So, do you know how many centers like yours are in Ukraine, or I guess you're the only private center in Ukraine like this?
We are not private, we are not-for-profit, we are a charitable foundation. There are a couple other centers that are working with a very similar model, but I would say on the number of services and what we do and how we provide the services, we are quite unique, but we are trying to change that. We are trying to scale up to other regions, and we want to multiply Superhumans. So we even launching franchise next year, so anyone can be Superhumans, because we need centers like ours all over. So we never tried to create a unique center. We want to standardize uniqueness, and we want it to be normal so everyone would get the same level of service. It doesn't matter where they come and how it goes. So we want the same level of services. And we are working hard with the Ministry of Health, with the First Lady Office, to provide that for everyone in Ukraine.
And you already spoke about this healthcare situation, overall situation in Ukraine. So how significantly has Ukraine's ability improved in the last years, ability to help those who have had body parts amputated? How do you see it? How much is done, and how much is more needs to be done?
I would say that our ability didn't increase, for sure, because there are so many wounded people. At the same time, people still have cancer, COVID, and other issues. So our abilities didn't increase. 1,600 hospitals ruined or damaged in Ukraine. A lot of people left. So I can't talk about increasing our ability or capacity of Ukrainian healthcare system. What did change is our level of expertise. So the things we do here in Ukraine and the patients we serve is nothing the world has seen from the World War II. So we're becoming very experienced, we're becoming very expert-oriented in different areas. So we have specialists that can do very complicated surgeries, who can do very complicated interventions, but it doesn't say about overall capacity of the healthcare system, which is in a very difficult situation right now, due to the fact that it's overwhelmed with the patients. We still have patients who are in the system from the first day of the war, and new patients are coming on a daily basis, plus civilians who still get diseases, and the system has to keep operating.
So we can say that, sometimes we speak about that militaries from armies from other countries can learn from Ukrainian soldiers. So this is the same in this healthcare system. The other countries can learn from Ukrainian specialists as well.
Absolutely. We believe that there is any benefits from this war, it should be in getting and sharing expertise in providing help or war trauma. So that's where Ukraine going to be very experienced after the war. And we already started sharing our knowledge with the rest of the world, with Israel, Gaza, with other countries that are preparing specialists for situation as war and other crises.
And speaking about mental side of this, some kind of trauma that results in the amputation of some body parts, this certainly have some different effects on a person's mental health. For some, maybe it's easy to accept it. For others, it is very difficult. So what kind of people do you meet at the center? Are they mostly positive, or is it obvious that they may also need a huge psychological help? Or are they already over this maybe trauma, if they had it when they reach your center?
Everyone in Ukraine needs psychological support now. It doesn't matter whether you've been at the front lines. Every person in this country lost something. Somebody lost beloved ones, someone lost their house, and all of us lost the life we had. So we all traumatized with a different extent. People who have war trauma and trauma of war, that's one approach. We need to diagnose correctly what kind of trauma the person has, whether it's PTSD, whether it's acute, whether it's psychiatrical disorder. So we need to understand what we are dealing with, if it's moral trauma, and then we need to find a way how to deal with this. So we need to train more and more specialists. And then we will have to learn how to live with the different traumas in this society after the war and now when people are returning. In Superhuman Center, most of our patients are very positive because before even they came here, they identified themselves as superhumans. They were ready to work hard. They were ready to invest a lot of their time in their recovery. Not everyone like they are. And it requires a lot of efforts, a lot of work. Atmosphere in the center is very positive, and we invest a lot of time and efforts to do it, positive. But overall, like I said, everyone in this country needs psychological support. And taking into account that PTSD is transmitted from mother to child, this trauma will last for generations.
What should you say to a person who has lost a part of their body and who maybe feels that no one needs them anymore and they will be never able to do anything? How do you motivate them?
We just show them other patients' successes. We take them to the second floor, to our rehabilitation floor, and they see someone walking already. They see people who open their businesses. They see our guys who already won some sport medals. You don't need to say anything. You just show it's possible. And that when they see it's possible, they think if someone did it before, I can do it as well. So it works by example. There is nothing to say. I'm a complete person. I have 4 limbs. What can I say to someone who lost a limb? What do I know about that? The only thing I know, you can't regrow your leg. You can't regrow your arm. So it's gone. It's not there anymore. But the only thing that I can do for them is to demonstrate by examples of other patients that you still can do a lot of things. You still can do things that I can't do. So just keep trying, keep working on that, keep exercising, and you'll get there. That's it. You can use your trauma to become stronger and to reach more results and be more successful. That's what we do here in Superhumans by demonstrating them that there are life after the trauma, and it's your decision whether your life is over or you just go on and continue your life by investing your efforts in getting where you want to get.
And what are your observations about how successfully these people with prosthesis are integrating back into society?
A lot of our patients are very well integrated. They have kids, they build families, and they're very successful. So we have examples of people getting back to their lives, and we have examples of people doing more than they've done before they got trauma. And these examples are very, very motivating. So we know it's possible, and we want as many patients as possible to get these results.
And how do you see, is it more or less easy to get a job after this trauma as well? What is the situation in the labor market? What are the challenges here with these people maybe?
It takes time because you need to solve all your issues with the health. So it ranges from year to year and a half before the patient starts looking for a job or ready for a job. Market is open to give jobs to those people who lost their limbs. Sometimes they need reskilling, they need retraining, and that's why we're going to be building a big reskilling center in Kyiv to help our patients have access to education and reskilling.
How do you see how Ukrainian society will look like in the future if we speak about consequences that the war has on people, both physical and moral? How do you see how it will look like after the war ends?
I believe that we will win this war. I don't know when it's going to happen. We're definitely going to be damaged, but I believe it'll make us stronger because we are fighting for our independence. We know that we are fighting for our land, and we didn't do anything wrong. We were just living our lives. So we were forced to fight for our freedom. And that's what we do. And as any country, as any nation that fights for its freedom, it just becomes stronger. It's difficult. It will have impact on our psychological health and on our future, but we hope that it'll have a positive impact in the long run.
And your specialist will have a job for a long time, I guess. Well, people will probably need help even after the war is over. After all, very large areas have been mined, there will be inevitably people who will unfortunately suffer and of course other people. Yeah.
Regretfully, 40% of Ukrainian territory is mined. It's the size of Austria. And meaning that if the war stops tomorrow, we will keep losing limbs. And also prosthetics is not like appendix. You cut it and you never see the patient. Prosthetics and the patient is like a priest. You go to them every 3 months when you gain weight, when you lose weight, when your needs changes. Some people need sport prostheses, some people need adjustment. So they move from one point to another. So regretfully, we'll have a job for the next 10 years.
And last question, what has this work with these people in the Superhumans Center taught you, and perhaps you have discovered something new about yourself doing this work?
Well, there are insights every day. The biggest thing that I realized that I always had everything just by simply having 4 limbs. I was so lucky, and I'm still so lucky to be able to wake up every morning, do my running morning run, to hug people I want. And that means I always had everything. And that's enough to live this life, to be successful. Because I see people on a daily basis who lose their limbs and they need to strive to get back on there too. So that's probably the biggest insight. I am absolutely blessed to have opportunity to walk and to hug people I love without external support. That's probably number 1. And number 2, you cannot choose your path, but you can always choose who you are on this path. And I think that every Ukrainian who woke up on February 24th, 2022 had an opportunity to choose their path and had an opportunity to be a hero. And not everyone in this world have this blessing and have this choice. And we did. And we are very proud to have an opportunity to fight for our country and for our independence. Doesn't matter how much it costs us, and it costs us a lot.
Okay, thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you.
Raidieraksts Drošinātājs. Paldies Rihardam Plūmēm, kurš sarunājās ar Olgu Rudnevu, vienu no aizgājušā gada iedvesmojošākiem cilvēkiem, sievietēm pasaulē. BBC raidorganizācijas vērtējumā centra Superhumans, viena no izveidotājiem un šobrīd vadītājiem. Tiešām interesanti, ka Superhumans nav vienkārši nosaukums, tā ir filozofija, ka pat ja tu esi zaudējis roku, kāju vai ko citu, šajā centrā ir savākušies speciālisti, kas tev spēj pārliecināt, ka patiesībā galvenais ir piecelties pēc šī te kritiena, ko tu esi piedzīvojis, būt super cilvēkam tālāk uz priekšu ejot, kā arī Olga pati saka, atgādina to veco patiesību, ka mēs kaut kādas lietas novērtējam tikai tad, kad to vairs nav. Ja mums ir abas rokas, abas kājas, varam uzskatīt, ka mēs jau esam laimīgi cilvēki un mums ir jānovērtē tas, kas mums ir šobrīd.
Jā, palīdzību, ko sniedz Olga ar savu komandu cilvēkiem, kā jau mēs runājām, to būs nepieciešams sniegt vēl noteikti ļoti daudzus gadus, diemžēl, un šī nauda, kas arī ienāk, par ko tiek iegādāt šīs visnotaļ dārgās protēzes un sniegt arī palīdzību. Tas ienāk līdzekļu vākšanas veidā un, protams, cerams, ka neapsīks vismaz ievērojamā apjomā to cilvēku skaits un to cilvēku līdzekļi, kas arī nodrošina šim centram šo naudu. Ir zināms, ka ir viens tāds investors, kā Olga ir atzinusi vienā no intervijām, kurš labprāt iesaistās un palīdz ar lielu naudu tieši šādu humanitārā palīdzībā, bet nelabprāt iesaistās ar militāru palīdzību Ukrainai. Skaidrs, ka arī šāda palīdzība, lai cik liela tā būtu, bet ir ļoti vajadzīga. Tie, kas vēlas palīdzēt militāri, tie dara to tādā veidā un dod naudu tam, bet arī līdzekļi šāda veida palīdzībai ir ļoti nepieciešama un cerams, ka šādu cilvēku kļūst tikai vairāk, nevis mazāk, lai var palīdzēt Ukraiņiem.
Starp citu, te jāpiemina, ka arī Latvijas speciālisti brauc uz Ukrainu, gan piedalās operācijās, gan pārsvarā apmāca savus kolēģus Ukrainā. Te varētu ieteikt 5. janvāra rakstu Delfos, Delf Plus sadaļā, kurā ir intervēti ķirurgi Olafs Libermanis un Mārtiņš Malzubris. Viņi stāsta par savu pieredzi Ukrainā, un es noteikti ieteiktu arī to izlasīt, bet savukārt šo interviju ar Olgu varēsiet izlasīt LSMLV nedēļas nogalē, kā parasti. Pievienosim arī klāt fotogrāfijas. Redzēsiet gan kā izskatās šis Superhumans centrs, gan kā izskatās pati Olga. Ja jūs guvāt kaut ko no šīs intervijas, kādas atziņas vai kādus vērtīgus iepriekš neredzētus redzējumus, tad padalieties ar šo interviju, aizsūtiet saiti saviem radiem draugiem paziņām, kuriem šis varētu šķist interesanti. Padalieties sociālajos tīklos, lietojot mirkļu birku Drošinātājs. Tāpat arī rakstiet mums, ko domājat par dzirdēto. Droši varat sūtīt kādus ieteikumus mums arī nākamajiem viesiem. Te gribu pateikt lielu paldies Ingrīdai, kura mums ir devusi vienu vērtīgu ideju. Strādāsim pie tās, paskatīsimies, kas sanāks. Tas šai reizei arī viss. Mēs tiekamies jau pēc nedēļas. Atgādināšu tik, ka ceturtdienās mēs izlaižam jaunu epizodi radio mobilajā lietotnē un straumēšanas platformās, bet piekdienu vakaros 6:15 Latvijas Radio 1 kanālā varat dzirdēt tādu nedaudz kompresētu drošinātāju versiju, jo mums jāiekļaujās konkrētā chronometrāžā. Tāpēc vienmēr vispilnīgākā drošinātāja versija raidierakstā vai nu straumēšanas platformās vai radio mobilajā lietotnē.
Jā, atzīmējam kalendāros 16. janvāri, tad būsim atkal dzirdami jūsu ausīs dažādos aparātos ar jaunu interviju noteikti arī no tevis divu un, protams, ar dažādiem citiem viedokļiem un ziņām. Bet šā reizē tas viss, es arī no jums atvados, tiekamies jau drīz un atceramies. Drošinātājs skaidri un personīgi par karu Ukrainā.
Raidieraksts Drošinātājs.